Hello, I'm Elaine, the Ninja Life Coach, and welcome to my channel today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today, and we're going to talk about something today that's very, very important, and it's a thing that we often overlook when we're going through a grieving process or even in everyday life. So this is a video for everyone, and we're going to talk today about boundaries. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, folks, today we're going to talk about something that's really near and dear to all of our hearts and something that we really need to pay attention to, but something we really don't like to talk about because we all think we do an excellent job on this. And we're going to talk about setting boundaries. And we're going to talk about some things that we can do. I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do to help you set good, healthy boundaries when people try to come and get in your space. And unfortunately, we all have those friends and family members who think that there's nothing that's off limits, that it's fine and dandy, that they can just do or say or act any way they want to around us, and we're supposed to just suck it up and take it. Well, we don't have to do that. And here are some things that you can do to help you in that process. And the first thing you can do, and I wrote these down so that I could kind of stay on track today. I've kind of had a really hectic day today, so bear with me as I make this video. The first thing that we can do is we can write them down. We can decide what they are, take the steps necessary, and get that journal out and write down those boundaries. You know, if we have something written down and we have it already set in our mind, when someone comes along and they just want to blow up our entire set of boundaries, we have a point of reference if they are written down. And if necessary, we actually have something we can pull out and show to people and say, hey, look, you have violated this. I wrote this down 6 months ago, and here it is. The second thing that we can do when someone is, kind of getting in our space and violating our boundaries is when they step over the boundary. And we are going to have times when people do step over that boundary marker that we have in our life. It could be from ignorance. It could be from they just don't care. It could be just they don't know. Maybe they've not spent enough time with us to know what is and isn't acceptable in our lives, and they may mean no harm. But we do have to, whether they mean harm or not, we have to set a precedent in our life with people who violate our boundaries. Because if we don't, then we are forever at their mercy of them blowing up our boundary lines. I don't know if you guys have ever read this book, Boundaries, by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. This is a great book. It's called Boundaries. It is available on Amazon. I'll drop a link down in the description so you guys can click on it if you want to buy it. But this is one thing that they write in there that really pertains to this setting a precedent. And I'm going to read this to you so that you all can hear this. It says, what happens when a rescuing, enabling person meets a controlling, insensitive person? Answer, they get married. And unfortunately, that's often the way it is when you meet someone who doesn't respect your boundaries. Those of us who are enablers are attracted to that for some reason. And we have to be very much aware and on our guard to set that healthy precedent right away and implement it in our lives immediately. Because if we don't, there goes our boundaries. The third thing and this is the most difficult thing to do, is when our boundaries are violated in a repetitious fashion over and over again by the same person, we have to know when to walk away. And that's really very tough if it's someone you really care about or someone you love, or if it's a family member or a close friend. That is the hardest thing to do. Because if we have allowed someone to step over that boundary line and to come into areas that they don't really have any business of stepping over that line into, it is very hard to say, okay, we're terminating this. This contract is terminated. And that's very difficult to do. I'm not in any way suggesting that you walk away from a marriage or walk away from a family member or friendship. I'm not suggesting that in any way whatsoever. God has tremendous healing power with any relationship, and I believe that all things are possible with God. But if you're in a relationship with someone and they keep stepping over those clear marked boundary lines, and I'm talking about boundary lines that would be boundary lines for anybody. I'm not saying that if they ate your last deviled egg and you've told them not to. I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about a boundary that is beyond what anyone should ever step over, like into an abusive situation or something of that nature, or an infidelity, something of that nature. That's where I'm talking. Sometimes we have to know in those situations when to walk away from that person. I hope this helps you some today. I just wanted to drop this on the channel. It's just a quick little video about boundaries, because that is something that I think we all have trouble setting those things. And I actually read this book several years ago, and I was just thinking about our boundary lines yesterday, and actually I'm in a Facebook group for women who have been in abusive situations, and they were talking about that book, and that just kind of brought me back to the boundary thing, that it's very hard to set those boundary lines sometimes, and it's even harder to implement them, and the most difficult is to walk away. But it isn't impossible, and you can do it with God's help. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Maranatha.